And welcome to bex-treks. So over the past few weeks we've been upgrading the hammock kit. We've had a look at the continuous loops, the SRL, the straps. Now we need to connect the hammock to the strap, and for that I'm using this system here. They're not cheap. They're about 45 UK pounds, but it's an import from the States, from Dutchware. I have had these again about 5 years, titanium, not even a scratch on them, not even a scratch. And not to be confused, if I go into my pocket here, with these horrible cheap things here. These things go through the hammock. Then you bring the end of your strap through here. So you have to connect each and every time. These are dangerous. I had one night where the gate slipped. This is the gate, the bar that goes across, and it slipped going diagonal. You can see corner to corner there. And the strap came out and I hit the floor. Luckily, I was only about 18 inches off the floor, but I was fast asleep at the time, giving me the shock of my life. I swore to God I would never use these pieces of shit ever again. Avoid these at all costs, regardless of the price. They are cheap. They're also dangerous. So I upgraded to these here. And I'll show you how easy it is to connect to your hammock. And then I'll show you how to put them on a strap. You see it has two parts like that. Let's close it up, and it is just a case of bringing your continuous loop over one side and over the other, so it looks like that. And it doesn't matter apparently, even if this part of has been left up and you connect in like that, doesn't matter. But I prefer to lock it in like that. Titanium, 50 quid, but you get a pair. They are expensive. I'll show you how we're going to put these on. On one camp I found they'd slipped off, so I put a stopper knot in the end of my tree straps. Just stops them falling off. But let's take them off and show you in detail. You see you get two parts. That part there, and you can see the gap there is small. And this part here and the gap here at the bottom is wider. Let's start off with this here, which has the bigger opening in the bottom, and just put that on your strap. Then facing the same way, I don't want this that way, facing up, I'll put that on next. And they both hang on like that. I need to come over this first one with the strap and back through the wider aperture of the Beetle Buckles. This is why it is wider, that first one we put on, because it needs to be able to take the strap twice. Okay, it's simple as that. Like I said, get an overhand stopper knot in that. Then hammock. Continuous loop on. Continuous loop. I'm off. On. There's nothing quicker than that. This is secure, by the way. Once your body weight is in that, it's not going anywhere. I have never had any issues at all. It doesn't slip, and off again. Okay, let's put this up. Regarding some accessories for my hammock. This was probably the most expensive part. The lines, of course, 20 odd quid, and then sort of continuous loops, cheap, SRL, cheap. But I didn't do it all in one go. I just got a bit at a time. Maybe in the space of a couple of years I got all this. And I can adjust the height wherever I want it. Let's get it a little higher up the tree here, a bit low. It's just a fact, it is so incredibly quick to deploy and then to retract. Actually, that's a bit tight on the SRL. Slacken it off. I thought 50 quid or 45 quid, whatever they are, was a lot of money at the time, but I have had them years and years. They connect onto my continuous loop so very easily when it's time to break camp. There. So there's tree strap one down. Come over to the other side and retrieve all my kit. Tree strap 2 down, hammock down. It'll probably take longer to take my underquilt on and off, which is why I don't. Usually my hammock and my underquilt are connected and they stay connected. I mean, after all, you wouldn't separate your knife, fork and spoon, but it is very, very common practice among some people on YouTube, especially Brits, that their underquilt and the top quilt have to be separated, put into stuff sacks. So you've got a stuff sack for your top quilt, a stuff sack for your underquilt, and a stuff sack for your hammock, probably even a stuff sack for your straps. It's all time consuming, putting it on, taking it off, especially if you're wild camping where you need to move in a hurry. So everything of mine is in a tiny little bag like that. That includes the Hexon 1.6 hammock, it includes the continuous loops, the SRL, the Dutchware tree straps, 15 foot, all in that. I only have to add top quilt, underquilt, which I don't do. I just pre-connect everything and loose fill everything into my pack. Get to camp, tree straps up, connect, tarp up, in. I can be pitched in probably less than, I think I've timed myself under 3 minutes. Everything, the tarp, the hammock, the insulation, 3 minutes. And that is great if it's raining or it's cold, which is contrary to British YouTubers who will insist everything's got to be in stuff sacks. Nothing wrong with it, it's just not for me. An American through hiker will always pack loose fill. They get rid of them stupid little stuff sacks like this, leave them at home, everything into a dry liner in the pack. I've had other comments on my other channel, yeah, but your tree straps will be wet. It'll wet your insulation. Anything that's wet, such as my tarp, my tree straps, anything that's wet doesn't live inside my dry sack where my top quilt and underquilt are and my spare jacket, things like that. It travels on the outside of a pack on a mesh membrane, and I can even loose fill my tarp if I wanted. Anything wet goes at the back, there's no cross contamination. So we'll address the issue of loose fill versus stuff sacks on another video, but until then, take good care of yourself and I'll see you out there. Happy trails.